Boris Johnson's wife rarely speaks publicly. Now, however, Carrie Johnson is defending herself against the accusation of influencing the work of the British Prime Minister. That should be behind the allegations. In rarely a public statement, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie Johnson, has denied any interference in political decisions. The allegations that she was influencing the head of government were part of a brutal defamation campaign by her husband's enemies, Carrie Johnson said on Sunday evening. And she said, "This is the latest attempt by bitter ex-officials to discredit her. She is a private individual with no government role," it said. Carrie Johnson has been accused of influencing her husband. The Prime Minister has recently been much more committed to animal rights, for example. Carrie Johnson is known as a dedicated animal rights activist. Former Conservative Party treasurer and major Tory donor Michael Ashcroft, in an unauthorized biography of Carrie Johnson published over the weekend, criticized the 33-year-old for stopping Boris Johnson from governing Britain as effectively as the electorate deserves. The new biography, entitled First Lady Intrigues at the Court of Carrie and Boris Johnson, is causing a stir in the UK. In it, Boris Johnson is described as a weak prime minister who's almost a puppet of his wife. Behind every strong man is a strong woman. Well, this adage seems to apply to the Johnsons as well. At least that is what is claimed in an extremely explosive new biography about Carrie Symonds, well, today Johnson, wife of the British Prime Minister, as the British newspaper Daily Mail reports. Lord Ashcroft's explosive book presents Boris Johnson really as a weak prime minister who enrages his advisors by allowing his wife to influence politics and appointments. The Tory peer claims Boris Johnson is completely mesmerized by his wife and cuts a lonely figure surrounded by her close friends, who are now among his most influential aides. And once again, he said he's almost a puppet of his wife. The fact is that Boris Johnson has broken new ground for her. He has become the first Prime Minister in 200 years of English history to marry while in office. He left his family for her after 25 years, and now the blonde has access to the most exclusive circles in politics, business, and entertainment. Though young, the new Mrs. Johnson has had her share of life. She's made a career in the Conservative Party, she's made a name for herself with her activism, and she's met a serial rapist. The Prime Minister told friends he was angry at the book. He suspects that Lord Ashcroft, along with disgruntled former advisors to Number 10, have spun a web of lies. Well, usually he should know about lies. A spokesman for his wife described the claims as cruel allegations that were part of a calculated attempt by bitter ex-officials to attack Mrs. Johnson. But it's also a fact the book is published at an inopportune time for Boris Johnson. At a time when the British Prime Minister is having to fight to stay in power more desperately than ever before in his political career. Carrie and Boris Johnson have been dating since 2018. They have 2 children, son Wilfred, who was born in April 2020, and daughter Romy, born on December 9th in 2021. Well, Carrie was influential enough to get rid of Dominic Cummings, as it seems. Just saying. And British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been criticized for weeks for various parties during the corona lockdown. However, all requests for resignation roll off him, and he's certain that he will survive politically. And British Prime Minister Boris Johnson uses a musical classic in the Partygate affair to prove his fighting spirit. Johnson's new head of communications, Guto Harry, reported to the news portal Go360 that the first thing he asked the Conservative head of government was, "Are you going to survive, Boris?" The Prime Minister then started singing Gloria Gaynor's famous song, "I Will Survive." Then both supposedly sang the next 2 lines together, and especially me should be offended by that. Harry is tasked with improving the public image of the government, which has suffered serious damage. When asked about the anecdote, Johnson just laughed. A government spokesman said the PM does not comment on private conversations. Otherwise, Harry said of his new boss, he's not a complete clown. He's a very lovable character. Not a complete clown is a nice one. 90% of our discussion is very serious, but he's a character type and sometimes has fun. He's not the devil, he's mischaracterized by some. Johnson has been under pressure for weeks over the Downing Street lockdown party scandal during the coronavirus pandemic. Even several MPs from his Conservative Party are calling for his resignation. Johnson recently swept out several advisors to show leadership. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.